same struggle with you. And to the deaf ears of the oligarchy, transnationals, and corrupt governments, we say, we know that you are afraid, because your only response is to use your patriotic mercenary armies and police forces against us. To the oligarchy, transnationals, and corrupt governments, we warn you. You have forgotten that as people, we have walked a long resistance in defense of who we are, who we were, and who we will be. We never be tired of sowing rebellion where you cut our corn. We never be tired of lifting a string where you impose machinery of progress, destruction. Because our roots are as ancestral nations have reached deep into the mountains and our Mother Earth, deeper than your highways and skyscrapers. The Council of Ahihab elders have been telling us that our Earth grandmother is in agony. We've been hearing the plight of all the creatures that cohabit in our Mother Earth, of her great gushing wound due to plunder and pollution of the air, land, and waters, and its hopeless aftermath. Because we have been abusing her, desolating her forests, deserts, oceans. We are wounding her so badly that she may no longer be capable of sustaining us. The demanding greed of the oligarchy, international and corrupt governments, and our glut of consumerism have brought us to this havoc of near extinction. Where we will go, not if, but when we kill our Mother Earth. So one question remains: are you, people of the United States, willing and ready to stop the demanding greed of the oligarchy, transnationals, corrupt government, and the glut of consumerism? You may wonder why this question. Well, because the United States is the home of Wall Street and all these psychic transnationals. Because the United States spreads the gospel of democracy, freedom, and building nations. We must truthfully examine ourselves to see how we are a part of this greed way of life, how we are supporting the genocide, how we contribute to the agony of Mother Earth, and how stop all our irresponsible behaviors, no matter how inconvenient the changes are, no matter how third world we could look. Someone from around here once said, don't ask what your Earth Mother can do for you, but you can do for your Earth Mother. We must open-hearted come together as Maya, Lakota, African, Russians, Palestinians, Jew, Mestizo, Latino, to share our rebellions, struggles, and resistance. Let's put our minds together and see what life we can make for our children. Tatanka y Yotake. Our grandmother pain is our pain. Her rage is our rage. And you know what? We are as strong as ever. And you know why? Because we are warriors. And warriors fight. Together we will stop this havoc and stop our own extinction. We are the children of this ancestral land. We are the spirit of this land. We ask the Creator to give us life, so we all can meet again here in 2015 to share what we did to stop these foot soldiers of greed. Maltiosh Tat, Maltiosh Nat, Maltiosh Ahau, Maltiosh Elah.
We are so honored today to have a message directly from Leonard, which will be read by another elder, Bert Waters. I'll tell you that he's 84. Woo! Doesn't he look amazing? Yep.
from Leonard Pelletier. Greetings, my relatives, friends, and supporters. I was thinking about the national holiday, Thanksgiving, the other day. I won't even go into what a horrible shame this American holiday is based on. Instead, I will just let it remind me of the common bond I have with all my brothers and sisters of the earth. Even if Thanksgiving, the holiday, is based on an incorrect portrayal of history, the concept of being thankful is a universal truth. I mean, let's face it, being thankful, grateful, has been part of Indian nations much longer than the invention of a holiday. I admit there are days in here when I find it very hard to be thankful, but it does not take much to bring it back for me. Most days I get cards, letters from people all over the world. Sometimes I can even smell the soil, the pines, and sometimes even fry bread in the paper that is sent to me. I hear stories of your lives, your troubles, your children, your jobs. Oh, there is some word for that, but I cannot think of it now. But I get a sense of life through all of you, and I am thankful for that. I often want to reach out and help you sometimes. I would love to come work on your cars, or help you build your sweat lodges, or even just mow your lawn. I miss helping people, and I hate asking for help, which it seems is all I do. In here, I'm able to focus on the simple things of life. You have no idea how cool it is just to get a new pair of socks. In the last few months, I have really been feeling my age, and I am so very thankful for all the support that you have given to me. I won't lie, it has been a rough time lately, but I am hopeful that is changing. My people have always had a deep and connected relationship with the sun, and I realized the other day just how much I miss the sun. When I had the sun's light upon me, I felt stronger. These walls hold out the sun's energy, and it weakens me. When you miss something, it's easier to be thankful for things you do have. My friend and spiritual advisor, Lenny Foster, visited me recently and reminded me of some basic things I have to be thankful for. I have watched him age over all these years, and I am thankful for him and his wisdom. He sang with me and prayed with me, and I felt a bit of the sun again. I guess my point is that we can find the things we need in places we may not expect. I can always pray. This can never be taken away from me. And through that prayer, I can keep the sun and hope alive. And so, on this day, Thanksgiving, I will choose to be thankful and not to celebrate tyranny. I will also pray for you and with you. I pray for each and every one of you, whether you support me or not. I pray that your lives will be full of meaning and you will find new ways to learn. I pray for your strength and that you will always stand up for the things you know are right. I pray that each one of you find a way to protect our Mother Earth. She is crying out for us to hear her. I pray that you will listen to your inner wisdom and let it guide you to make choices that will help each other, and that you will be examples of those still learning their way in this life. I pray that you will be present with the moments you have. Enjoy the simple things in life, like the sun, the dirt, the air, the water, and that you would protect them as you would your own children. I pray that you will look for opportunities to lift up your sisters and brothers and not bring them down. I pray that you will grow and enjoy good natural food. I pray that you savor the attention of your loved ones. I pray that you build protective bridges of peace in those you oppose. I pray that when others make bad choices, you'll help them find positive solutions. I pray for understanding in times of misunderstanding. And yes, I pray very deeply, honestly, that I can go home for a little while before I cross over to the spirit world. With you always, and I feel your prayers too. I am always grateful for your support, your love, your friendship, your letters and contact you give me with life. It is harder for me to physically see well enough to write letters these days. So please forgive me if I don't write back. It is not that I don't want to. Know that I am often sitting and thinking of you and being thankful for all of you. Your old, thankful friend and brother, in the spirit of Crazy Horse, Leonard Pelletier. Mitakuyu Ayasin. That flag basically represents the Wampanoag Nation. Many years ago, we had scores and scores and scores of communities. And some of these communities bonded around kind of like major communities and made tribes. So this is the Wampanoag Nation, and the tribes make up the nation. And just briefly, the tribes, Mashpee, Aquinnah, Chappaquiddick, Seekonk, Namasket, Pokanoket, and others. Back in the day, in 1675, for 1 year, we didn't just give up this land. Please understand that. We didn't just lie down and let the European take the land. We fought the bloodiest, to this day, the bloodiest battles ever fought on Turtle Island. That's compared to the Civil War, which had close to 1 million people die. Per capita, bloodiest war, King Philip's War, right here. We went from the east, right through Providence, burned down Providence, continued west to the Connecticut Valley, Deerfield, and all those towns in through there, and we lost. We lost because of the thunder sticks, the gunpowder. We didn't have that. We had the tactics, the planning, the speed, the help, the knowledge, better than the Europeans did. But it was the gunpowder that did it. We're still here.
Takahi guaitiaos. Takia inaru. Takia borinquen, takia taino. Bomatun guaitiaos. Mabrika.
Thank you.
Yara. Mapanoalan. I say greetings to all of you, my relatives. All of you, my relatives.
Thank you.
And I say thank you to the people who have organized this event.
Thank you.
I come to you from the islands of the Caribbean. The islands of the Caribbean in the south. The land of the guaraguao, the red-tailed hawk. The land of the colibri, the hummingbird. My people, the Taino people, are not extinct. We are here. And I come to you. We were the first people to suffer. The first people, the first indigenous nation to suffer the oppression of the European invasion of our lands. When Christopher Columbus came to our islands, we offered him food. We offered him a good welcome. And in return, what we got was oppression. Our people were slaughtered. Our people were killed. Our spirituality was desecrated. We were not allowed to even speak our languages. So I'm here today because I understand the suffering of our relatives from the north. I understand the sufferings of the Wampanoag. I understand the sufferings of the Mohawks and of the Lakotas. We know and we understand it because we suffered it. We went through it. And so did our relatives throughout all of the Caribbean and throughout all of Abiyayala, which is the way we call all the entire continent, from the tip of Alaska to Tierra del Fuego. We suffered the same thing, and we're still suffering the same thing. We're still suffering the oppression. In particular, the island that I come from, the island that is called Puerto Rico. That is not the name of my homeland. The name of my homeland is Borinquen. That is the indigenous name of that island. It was changed. They changed it 3 times. They weren't happy with the way it sounded when the Spanish came. We were invaded by the Spanish. And what is unique about our island, besides not only being part of the oppression, but is also unique, is that we've been invaded twice. I think we're the only island that's been invaded twice. And we are, today, a colony, aka a reservation. We are a reservation. We've been a reservation. We have not been given our right to determine our own destiny. No one has ever asked my people, no one has ever asked, no one has ever come to us and said, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a part of this, this empire? Yes or no? No. That's what's unique about Puerto Rico. That is what is unique about Borinquen. And our people, our freedom fighters, like Leonard Peltier, are also in jail. Oscar Lopez Rivera is in jail today for fighting for the freedom of our people. He is a freedom fighter, and he is in prison, and they don't want to let him go. It seems that in this empire, anyone who speaks for freedom is jailed. So the message I bring here to you today, and I bring it to you because in 1553, a lot of people don't know this, the Taíno people on the island of Española had the first treaty between Europeans and indigenous peoples. That was in 1553, when Enriquillo, and that island today is called the Dominican Republic. They also changed the name of that island. It's called Quisqueya. He fought with the Spanish for 20 years. And they finally said, let's do a treaty. Let's do a treaty. Of course, it was violated. It was violated. That was the pattern. We suffered all of this 100 years before Plymouth Rock. That came later. The Plymouth landed here. So we already knew what they were going to do. They landed here. Already Mexico had been occupied. Already all of South America, Central America, our Mayan relatives, which are our relatives. Already the Mapuche people, the Inca people, had suffered the oppression of this empire. It's still going on. Kid yourselves not. It is still going on. And what the message that we bring to the people here today is to let you know that my people, I'm part of the United Confederation of Taino people. Finally, there's a confederation of Taino people in the Caribbean, of Caribbean First Nations. And all those member organizations and all of those groups are saying we stand in solidarity with all of you and all of our native relatives and our relatives of kindred spirit. Because from what I've seen, we are all, at this point now, living on a reservation. We're all living on a reservation. Everyone is suffering in this country. We stand in solidarity with you. We stand with you. We march with you. And our message is for you to continue. Don't give up. Strengthen your ranks. Strengthen your ranks and stand against injustice. Anywhere and everywhere that it exists, stand against it. Fight back. Take back what is yours. You have every right to do that. Take back everything. You want to be sovereign? Behave like a sovereign people. Act like a sovereign people. Walk like a sovereign people. And fear nothing. It takes courage to fight back. Well, get that courage. Fight back. Why are you doing it? You're doing it because we are of different nations, but in the long run, it is for all of humanity. We are all human beings. And what has happened is there are many people who have forgotten how to be human. We need to teach them how to be human again. The challenge, not easy. It's going to be difficult. But it can be done. Because the power is in your hands. The power is in the people's hands. Occupy every corner of this continent if you have to. Occupy Wall Street. Occupy wherever. Occupy Brazil, Belmonte, everywhere. Occupy it. Stand strong. That is, if we, my people, I'm very proud of my people. If we, for over 500 years, have stood strong and are still saying, get out of voting game, I'm saying to you, you can do it. You can do it. That is my message from my people. And we stand with you. I'm very happy to hear the news that the Thanksgiving Day parade was disrupted. That's like the best. That made my day. That made my day. That made my day. And as far as that rock is concerned, that rock you have over there, don't bury it anymore. Throw it into the middle of the ocean. That's where it belongs. Kick it into the middle of the ocean. Let the spirits of our ancestors take care of that rock, especially our relatives, the African Americans who were brought here in chains from their homelands, and many of them died, and their bodies are under that water. Many of them. Turn that rock into a shrine for all those spirits of all those people that were brought here in chains. That's what you need to do with that rock. As well, in Mourning, we're fighting a Christopher Columbus statue, twice the size of the Statue of Liberty.
Right.
And we're going to fight against it. All right? We're going to fight against it. And what does that mean? That's another message. Fight also against every symbolism of hatred and genocide that violates our intelligence. We are not stupid. We are not the savages. We are humankind, and the savages are the ones that are doing what they're doing, destroying Earth Mother and doing what they're doing. Bring them down. You know, there is a saying that if those down here move, everything on the top will fall. So let's get moving. Let's do what we have to do. Fear not and do not believe the lies. They'll pacify us. They'll try to pacify us. They've been trying to pacify us for hundreds of years. At this point in time, we all should be wise enough to know that we cannot trust the words of the oppressor. They're not to be believed. Don't trust. Don't believe. Stand strong. Stand together. And fight back. And take back what is rightfully ours. That is my message, and that I bring for my people on behalf of the Confederation. And I say to you, have a good evening, have a great march, and let's keep fighting.
And I will keep it short, sisters and brothers, because I know everyone's getting cold and wants to move. I'm so happy to be here today with everyone again. Thanks to United American Indians of New England and all of the supporters and friends of the Native community for making Day of Mourning happen again this year. Wado Pilamaya. I'd like to send a shout out to the many struggles out west, especially the fight against the tar sands and the Keystone XL and all the other pipeline fights. All of us know how bad it's become, that our Mother Earth is under such duress, the very life of our planet. Our mother is threatened by the profit system and the fossil fuel corporations. Indigenous people, we feel it in our bones, and like the Taino sister said, many people who've forgotten to be human, maybe they're feeling it too, but they don't know what it's coming from. You know? Some years ago, leading geologists stated the extraction of oil was going to start to decline because half the known deposits of oil in the world have been used up. What did the oil companies do? They started fracking and other more toxic extractions of fossil fuels began, like the tar sands. And they waste huge quantities of natural gas in the process of fracking, and they threaten our precious sacred groundwater, without which none of us will be alive. There'd be no life without clean water. The tar sands in Western Canada is about the most toxic fossil fuel extraction ever, and that industry also is toxic to all the indigenous communities, which is suffering throughout Western Canada, not just at the tar sands, but the Bakken oil fields and others, because it produces unquantified violence against women. We don't know how many women have been abducted, disappeared, raped, and murdered from the so-called man camps around this fossil fuel infrastructure in Western Canada and also in part of northern Montana at this time. The Keystone XL will bring that down into Montana, South Dakota, and Nebraska. All of the reservations on the northern Great Plains and Rocky Mountains have been fighting against this pipeline. And they're now joined for the first time by their white neighbors, some of the farmers and ranchers who've named themselves the Cowboy and Indian Alliance. They had a march in May and in D.C. And they've had demonstrations out west about which we've heard very little so far. 3 weeks ago, the House voted to approve the Keystone Pipeline. And it was narrowly defeated in the Senate. Some of you got to hear the brave Lakota Dakota brother Gray Cloud sing an honoring song from the balcony. He was honoring the no voters, and that they risked him for that. In response to the House vote, the Rosebud Reservation issued a statement calling that vote an act of war. In the words of Thurgood Marshall, the native nations in this country are legally domestic dependent sovereigns. The Rosebud president said, "We're sovereigns, but no one's consulting with us. We will defend our lands and people. We need to keep our eyes open on this struggle and our ears open for what's going on, because it may come to physical battles out west. We need to plan how we can support them and show solidarity to this struggle." The Rosebud statement was picked up in their first newswire online, and it's now been reprinted in the Workers' World newspaper. I understand there'll be copies of that. If you want a copy, get it at Social. The water's our life. Keystone XL threatens the Missouri and Yellowstone rivers and the groundwater of the biggest aquifer on the planet, the Ogallala Aquifer that extends from Montana down to Texas under the Great Plains. We need to fight to save the life of our Mother Earth. No fracking, no more profit system.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now! Justice! Now! We let it go there! We let it go there! Justice! Now! Justice!
ki ai o e ana he ne uan kantai